The New York Times reports that in a recent speech, Donald Trump, quote, who often criticizes President Biden for errors in his remarks, erroneously referred to Iran as Iraq. Later, he swapped in North Korea in a lament he had been making recently about Iran, threatening his life, saying that the Secret Service had been burdened by the security needs of the recent UN General Assembly. Mr. Trump complained that officials said that we have to guard the United Nations, which meant the president of North Korea, who is basically trying to kill me. He added, so they want to guard him, but they don't want to guard me. Mr. Trump has previously boasted of his relationship with Kim Jong-un, the leader of North Korea, but his campaign has said it has been briefed about threats from Iran to assassinate him. And the man who wants to be commander-in-chief also said this.
Good fighters, great fighters, I'll tell you. Among the best. They're actually they could take a knife. They were like Rambos. It's like putting 1,000,000 Rambos. Good old Sylvester Stallone is my friend. But it's like putting 1,000,000 Rambos. Somebody explained that to me. They're great fighters. It's like putting a Rambo. Give him a knife. And that's all he needs. And by the time he finishes, he'll go down and he slits the throats with
1,000,000 Rambos. The Harris-Walz campaign released this ad.
I'm really concerned about J.D. Vance being a heartbeat away from the presidency.
He is an extremist.
I certainly would like abortion to be illegal nationally.
A danger to our democracy.
J.D. Vance has said he would not have certified those electors.
We really need to be ruthless when it comes to the exercise of power.
A danger to our fundamental freedoms.
If Trump wanted to distance himself from Project 2025, why did he pick Vance? He wrote the foreword for Heritage Foundation President Kevin Roberts' new book.
You may know that we're good friends.
He's not just weird or dangerous. He could be a heartbeat away from the Oval Office.
Can he govern from prison?
People should be concerned.
and anonymous.
The former president has been off his game.
Anonymous.
He is so disoriented.
Would it take Betsy here?
Joining our discussion now is Simon Rosenberg, Democratic strategist and author of Hopium Chronicles on Substack. Also with us, Stuart Stevens, a veteran of 5 Republican presidential campaigns. He ran the last sane Republican presidential campaign in 2012. He's a senior advisor at the Lincoln Project, and Stuart is the author of The Conspiracy to End America: 5 Ways My Old Party is Driving Our Democracy to Autocracy. And Stuart, let me begin with you tonight and what you saw in Liz Cheney endorsing the Democratic candidate for president.
Yeah, you know, it's a big moment. I worked closely with Liz. I first met her doing debate prep for her dad. And I got to tell you, man, she was so impressive. There shockingly were a number of people around Cheney who really thought a lot of themselves. And she had this ability to deal with them with the deftness and just a bit of humor, but always in control. And when I wrote a book about the Bush campaign called The Big Enchilada, I predicted that Liz would run for president. That was 2001. Now, I never thought obviously it would end up with the party collapsing like this. But her courage, her fearlessness, her absolute devotion to a greater cause and party, none of that surprises me.
Simon, weave into where the campaign is today, what we saw in Wisconsin with Liz Cheney endorsing Kamala Harris today.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Stuart. It's a major moment. It was an incredible affirmation of Kamala Harris as a strong leader. I think we continue to, every week that Kamala Harris has been in this race has been a good week for her. She hasn't had a major stumble or a struggle or a bad day, really, at any point. And we've had another good week here. And I feel, we're slightly ahead in the polls. We're up by 2, 3, 4 points. We are in stronger shape in the battleground. We've got a much stronger campaign to close. Our candidates are much more popular and better liked than theirs are. I mean, we should feel good about where we are. And what I will tell you about this campaign that impresses me the most is they're pressing every button. They're trying to get every vote. They're incredibly hungry. And they're fighting for rural votes, for Republican votes, for votes that have to do with a choice and abortion and reproductive freedom. They're firing on all cylinders, and it's very impressive about how much they're prosecuting and trying to eke out every single vote they can in every state to win this thing by as much as they can.
And meanwhile, Stuart, the 78-year-old candidate continues to stumble. His words are just a mess all over the place. And now you're left with questions about what that's about. Is this part of the aging process? He's always been incoherent, but is this different? And is J.D. Vance in any way reassuring for people if Donald Trump, for some reason, would not be able to finish his 4 years if he were elected?
Yeah, listen, Trump is in decline. I mean, every day, that's the best Trump you get. The next day, he's worse. The next day, he's worse. And, you know, this isn't going to correct itself. It's only going to be this way. It's only going to accelerate. And being tireder and stressed and all of that doesn't help. And guess what the most stressful job in the world is? Being president. You know, J.D. Vance is an odd character in American politics. He's talented, but his ability to reinvent himself, his need to, it's just extraordinary. I mean, this is a guy who bonded with sort of Northeast liberals over their mutual hatred of Donald Trump. And now he's up there saying, you know, lying all this stuff, saying if you really want to protect Obamacare, you need to vote for Trump. I mean, seriously, dude? Really? That's really what it's come to? And I think the guy still gives off a very unsettling vibe.
Yeah, you know, I've been bothered by the term smooth talking. People are saying, oh, he's a smooth talker. You know, when I was a kid, a smooth talker was someone who talked so smoothly you couldn't catch that he was lying. You couldn't catch that this guy's lying all the time. That doesn't qualify as smooth talk for